It's election time in Australia, and the whole country is buzzing with anticipation. You know what that means: big promises from politicians, and even bigger debates on the issues that matter most to Australians. This year, one topic that's got everyone talking, from city streets to country towns, is immigration. Some folks reckon we're letting in too many people, worried about the impact on jobs, services, and the Aussie way of life. But others argue that newcomers are what keep Australia strong, vibrant, and competitive in a changing world. So, what's the real story behind all the headlines and heated arguments? Both big political parties, Labor and the Liberals, are promising to cut down on how many migrants we accept each year, hoping to win over concerned voters. They're especially focused on skilled migrants, the ones who come here with qualifications, experience, and job offers in hand. Why? Because they're worried about housing and the pressure on our cities and suburbs. Finding an affordable place to live is tough these days, with rents and house prices soaring in many areas. Some people blame migrants for driving up prices, saying the demand is just too high. But is that really fair? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Let's take a closer look at the facts and see what's really going on beneath the surface. It's no secret that Australia is in the grip of a housing crisis. Across the country, families and individuals are struggling to find affordable places to live, and the dream of home ownership feels further away than ever for many. Prices are through the roof, and it's getting harder and harder for young people to buy their first home. Even those who saved for years are finding themselves priced out of the market, watching as properties are snapped up at record highs. This is a real worry for many Australians, and it's understandable that they want solutions. The stress of not knowing if you'll ever own a home, or even afford rent, weighs heavily on families and individuals alike. The cost of living is another big concern. Everyday essentials like food, fuel, and utilities are all becoming more expensive, putting extra pressure on household budgets. Everything from groceries to petrol seems to be getting more expensive. For many, it feels like their pay just isn't keeping up, and every trip to the shops is a reminder of how much things have changed. People are feeling the pinch, and they're looking for someone to blame. It's a natural reaction when times are tough and answers seem hard to find. But before we start pointing fingers at migrants, we need to ask ourselves, are they really the problem? It's important to look at the facts before jumping to conclusions. Or are there other, more complex factors at play? The real story behind Australia's housing and cost of living crisis might be more complicated than it first appears. Let's talk about Indian Australians for a minute. They're one of the fastest growing migrant groups in the country, and they're making a huge contribution. You'll find Indian Australians doing brilliant things in all walks of life. They're doctors and nurses keeping us healthy, engineers and scientists pushing the boundaries of innovation, and entrepreneurs creating jobs and boosting our economy. They're a vital part of our community, enriching our culture with their traditions, food, and languages. And let's not forget, they pay taxes just like everyone else, contributing to the services we all rely on. Here's the thing. Blaming migrants for high house prices is like blaming the waves for a tsunami. It's easy to point the finger at something visible, but the real story is much more complicated and goes much deeper than most people realize. Migration is just a small part of a much bigger problem that's been building for decades. The real reasons behind Australia's sky-high house prices are woven into our policies, our economy, and the way we plan our cities. The real culprits are things like negative gearing, which gives tax breaks to property investors and pushes prices up, making it harder for first home buyers to compete. Investors often have more power in the market, and that drives prices even higher. Then there's the fact that we're just not building enough new homes to keep up with demand. Planning delays, zoning restrictions, and rising construction costs all slow down the process, leaving many Australians struggling to find a place to live. And let's not forget about all the empty houses being bought by investors, left vacant as assets rather than homes, which means fewer options for ordinary families who just want a place to call their own. Cutting down on skilled migration won't magically make houses cheaper. In fact, it's a distraction from the real issues and won't fix the underlying problems in the housing market. In fact, It could make things worse by creating worker shortages, slowing down construction even more, and hurting our economy at a time when we need growth and innovation. So, before we jump to conclusions, let's remember that immigration has always been part of Australia's story. It's helped build our cities, our communities, and our future. It's what makes us strong, diverse, and ready to face the future. Together, as a nation that welcomes new ideas and new people.